You know that feeling? You're scrolling your phone at midnight. Another trader is posting their wins. Another day you didn't take a trade. Another opportunity you watched pass by. And you're thinking, why am I the only one missing out? If you've been trading for even a few months, you've probably felt this exact thing. That sharp anxiety. That voice saying, you're leaving money on the table. Here's what I want you to know. You're not falling behind. You're not bad at this. You're not stupid. You're actually experiencing exactly what trading is designed to make you feel. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why that feeling is the biggest clue about whether you're about to make money or lose it. It's counterintuitive, I know, but stay with me. Let me describe what happens inside the mind of most traders. See if any of this resonates. You start out feeling pretty confident. You've read some books, watched some tutorials, you know the basics. You understand support and resistance. You understand risk to reward. Maybe you even have a trading plan. Then a trade setup appears. It's textbook. It hits your rules perfectly. But before you take it, your phone buzzes. Someone in a Discord server just posted a 40% win. Someone else is talking about a stock that just moved 15% in an hour. And suddenly that textbook setup doesn't feel as good anymore. So you close the chart, you go chase the hotter opportunity, and you're filled with this weird cocktail of hope and anxiety. Then something happens. That setup you didn't take, it would have hit, it would have worked. But the trade you did chase, it didn't play out. So the next day you're angry at yourself. You tell yourself, never again. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to take every setup. And so you do. And this time, something different breaks. You take 5 trades in a row. 3 of them lose. Your account drops 8%, and now you're spiraling. You're revenge trading. You're entering positions you don't even believe in anymore. You're trading emotionally. Finally, you step away. You tell yourself you need to study more. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. I'm not describing a character. I'm describing approximately 90% of traders in their first year. This isn't a character flaw. This isn't because you lack discipline. This is what happens when a human brain meets a system that contradicts how that brain evolved. Your brain has a really important job. For thousands of years, its job was keeping you alive. And it did this by being hyper alert to opportunities and threats. If your ancestors saw other members of the tribe eating, they didn't sit around thinking strategically. They felt an immediate panic. If I don't eat now, there might not be food later. So they acted. They moved. They didn't overthink. This is good for survival. This is terrible for trading, because trading is one of the few activities where the person who acts the most usually loses money, and the person who acts the least usually makes it. Think about that for a second. In your day job, if you work harder, you get better results. In relationships, if you communicate more, things improve. In fitness, if you exercise more, you get stronger. But in trading, if you trade more, you usually get poorer. The market doesn't reward effort. It doesn't reward urgency. It doesn't care how hard you're trying or how long you've been staring at your screen. The market rewards 2 things. 1, having a clear rule about what you will and won't do. 2, the discipline to do nothing when nothing meets that rule. And that do nothing part, that's where your brain breaks. Because inactivity feels like failure. When you're sitting and waiting, your brain is screaming, Why aren't you doing anything? Everyone else is trading. You're missing out. You should be in the market right now. That feeling is FOMO. And traders usually interpret that feeling as useful information. They think, I feel like I should trade, therefore I should trade. But that's backwards. That feeling isn't information. It's biology. It's your survival instinct misfiring. And the traders who win? They feel that exact same feeling. But they've learned something crucial. Feeling like you should trade and having a reason to trade are completely different things. A profitable trader feels FOMO constantly. The difference is they don't obey it. Angle 1. The waiting game. Let me show you something that changed my perspective forever. I stopped counting how many trades I took in a month. Instead, I started counting how many trades I didn't take. In my first year trading, I took about 40 trades a month. I lost money consistently. When I started paying attention to my waiting, I realized something. I was deleting about 150 setups a month that looked good but didn't actually meet my system. I had FOMO about those 150. I was watching them, thinking maybe this one will work. And so I'd second-guess my rules and take them anyway. Then I did something radical. I stopped trading for 3 weeks. Not because I was being disciplined, because I realized there were no setups, or at least none that truly fit my rules. You know what happened during those 3 weeks? Nothing. The market didn't run away. My opportunities didn't disappear. I didn't miss a life-changing trade, but my account didn't lose money either. Then, in week 4, I got 3 setups. Real ones. Setup number 1 made 2%. Setup number 2 made 3%. Setup number 3 made 1.5%. I made more money in 1 week of real setups than I had in the previous month of chasing garbage. And that's when it clicked. Profitable trading isn't about finding more opportunities. It's about finding fewer, better ones, and having the patience to wait for them. The trader with discipline isn't the one trading 40 times a month. The trader with discipline is the one who trades 4 times a month and sleeps at night knowing each trade was necessary. Angle 2. The difference between waiting and procrastinating. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Okay, so I should just sit and wait. But how do I know I'm waiting productively instead of just procrastinating? How do I know I'm not avoiding trades because I'm scared? This is important. Here's the difference. When you're procrastinating, you feel guilty. You feel like you should be doing something, and you're avoiding it out of fear. There's tension. When you're waiting for a real setup, you feel calm. You're actively watching the charts, but you're not frustrated that the setup isn't there yet. You're at peace knowing that when it appears, you'll recognize it. Procrastination feels like hiding. Waiting feels like hunting. A procrastinator avoids looking at the market because they're afraid. A disciplined trader watches the market carefully but doesn't enter because the prey isn't there. One has anxiety, the other has focus. And here's something wild. Other traders can actually sense this difference. When you stop desperately seeking trades and start calmly waiting for them, your trading completely changes. You stop entering at the worst times. You stop panic selling winners. You stop holding losers hoping they'll bounce back. You stop acting like you need this trade. Because you don't. You're the hunter. You have time. Another setup will come. Angle 3. The cost of chasing. Let me make this real. Every trade you take when you're feeling FOMO instead of following your system, let's call that a fear trade. That fear trade has a price. Not just in dollars lost, though there's that, but in confidence. When you take a fear trade, you're training your brain that feelings are a valid trading signal. So next time you feel that FOMO, you'll be even more likely to act on it. You're building a habit. You're wiring your brain for impulsivity, but every time you don't take a fear trade, even though you want to, you're building something different. You're building trust in your system. You're training your brain that you can feel something intensely and still choose not to act on it. That's not restriction. That's freedom. Because the trader who can feel FOMO and ignore it can do literally anything in life. You're not anymore at the mercy of your impulses. The profitable traders I know don't feel less FOMO than beginners. They feel the same anxiety, the same urgency, the same everyone else is winning and I'm not. The difference is one decision repeated 10,000 times. I feel it, but I don't need to act on it. And that decision compounds. I want to tell you something most trading educators won't tell you. The traders who lose money the fastest are the ones who feel the most FOMO. And that's not because they're dumb. It's because they're sensitive. They're aware. They're paying attention to the market. The problem is they're paying attention to the wrong thing. Let me explain what I mean. Imagine two traders, Sarah and Mike. Sarah is a beginner. She's been trading for 3 months. She has a simple system. It says, only trade when price closes above a 20-day moving average and then breaks the previous high. That's her rule. It's clear. It's simple. Mike is also a beginner. He's been trading for 3 months. He knows about support and resistance and moving averages too. But he doesn't have a real system. He just trades what looks good. On Monday, a stock is rallying. It's up 8% in 2 days. Mike sees this. He feels FOMO. He buys. He's in. Sarah looks at the same stock. It doesn't meet her rule. The close isn't above the 20-day moving average yet. So she passes. Sarah feels FOMO too, but she does nothing. On Tuesday, the stock pulls back 6%. Mike is down. He's frustrated. He sells at a loss. His account is now smaller. Sarah's account is fine, untouched. On Wednesday, the stock bounces back. It now closes above that 20-day moving average. It's a real setup. Sarah enters. Mike sees it too, but he's traumatized from his loss. He's frustrated that he missed the move, but he's also scared of another loss. So he watches from the sidelines. Over the next week, Sarah's trade works perfectly. She's up 5%. Mike has now watched his money that he never made disappear, the move he didn't take, and he's also down 2% on his actual capital. And here's the psychological damage. Mike now has 2 regrets, not 1. He regrets buying too early, but he also regrets selling too early. He regrets missing the real setup after he sold. His brain is now wired for regret. But Sarah? Sarah is happy. Not because she's rich. She's only up 5%. But because every trade she took made sense. Every trade met her rules. She has 0 regret. Now fast forward 3 months. Mike has made 47 trades. 23 of them lost money. 24 of them made money. But because he chased FOMO, his average win is small. He sold early, hoping to catch the next big move. And his average loss is large. He held losers, hoping they'd bounce. His win rate is 51%. His account is down 18%. Sarah has made 8 trades. 6 of them made money. 2 of them lost money. Her win rate is 75%. Her account is up 31%. And the craziest part? Sarah has fewer winners. She has fewer trades overall, but she's making way more money. Why? Because Sarah's brain learned something crucial. Quality beats frequency. When Mike sees Sarah's results, he thinks, she's just lucky, or she's not telling us about all her losses. But that's the thing. She doesn't have many losses because she's not trading FOMO, she's trading clarity. And here's what Sarah understands that Mike doesn't. Every time you trade FOMO, you're not just risking money, you're training your brain that emotion is reliable information. So next time, your FOMO will be even louder. Your urgency will feel even more real. It's like you're addiction wiring yourself into emotional trading. But every time you don't trade FOMO, every time you feel the urge and you pause and you ask, does this meet my system? And the answer is no. You're literally rewiring your brain. You're building a neural pathway that says, I can feel intense emotion and still make a rational decision. That's not trading discipline. That's human discipline. And it changes everything. This is why profitable traders often look boring to beginners. They're not chasing. They're not excited by every little move. They're not in the action. But they're making money consistently. And they're sleeping well at night. There's something I need to address directly because a lot of traders get this wrong. You might be thinking, okay, so you're saying never follow your gut, always follow the rules. I get it. But that's not quite right. Your gut feeling is actually incredibly valuable. It's just valuable for the wrong thing. Here's what I mean. Your gut feeling is amazing at detecting danger. If you walk into a room and the hair on your neck stands up, that's your gut telling you something is wrong. That's useful. That could save your life. Your gut feeling is also amazing at detecting opportunity. If you meet someone and they make you feel safe and calm, that's your gut saying, this person might be trustworthy. That's useful information too. But here's the problem in trading. Your gut has learned over your entire life to make snap decisions with limited information. It's trained to say, move fast before someone else takes the opportunity. This kept your ancestors alive. If everyone was gathered around an animal to hunt and there was only enough meat for the fastest people, your ancestors who hesitated didn't pass on their genes. So your gut is optimized for competition and scarcity. But trading isn't actually scarce. There's a new setup every single day, every single week. The market will always be there. Your gut doesn't know this. Your gut thinks every trade is the last trade. So it screams urgency. Take it now before it's gone. But the market isn't going anywhere. So when you're looking at a chart and you feel this intense click, that sense of this is it, this is the one, that's not necessarily a sign that the trade is good. That's just your gut doing what it evolved to do. Make you act fast. Here's what I want you to understand. You have two decision-making systems in your brain. Most traders know about this. System 1 is fast, emotional, gut-based. It makes snap decisions. It's the voice that says, buy now. System 2 is slow, analytical, deliberate. It requires effort. It asks questions like, does this meet my rules? Traders think the problem is System 1. They think they need to ignore their gut and only listen to System 2. But that's not actually the solution. The solution is learning when to use each system. System 1 is great for quickly scanning, charts, noticing patterns, sensing when something feels off. System 2 is great for verifying if that feeling is actually reliable, checking if the setup meets your rules, managing risk. The profitable traders I know do this. They use System 1 to identify potential opportunities. Then they pause. They step back. They let the emotions settle. Then they use System 2 to verify if the opportunity is actually real. And here's what's wild. Sometimes after they pause and verify, they realize, oh, that was just FOMO. The setup doesn't actually work. And sometimes they realize this is legit. This actually meets my rules. Let's do this. Both answers are valuable, but the key is the pause. That moment where you don't let System 1 make the final decision. That's where discipline lives. A lot of beginners try to override their gut completely. They're like, I'm going to ignore all my instincts and just follow the rules robotically. And that's actually harder because you're fighting yourself the whole time. You're white-knuckling it. But the better way, the way that actually works, it's feel the feeling, acknowledge it. Oh, I'm feeling FOMO right now. Interesting. My system is registering this as a threat or opportunity. Good job, system. Then ask System 2, but does this actually meet my trading rules? If yes, take the trade. Both systems are aligned. You have clarity. If no, pass, and observe the feeling of passing. Notice that you felt FOMO, you didn't trade, and nothing bad happened. That's the training. That's how you rewire yourself. It's not ignore your gut. It's inform your gut. Show it evidence. Show it. Hey, I felt FOMO 47 times. I passed all 47 times. I didn't miss the market. The market is still here. Your gut will eventually believe it. Here's what happens when you let this shift sink in. You stop seeing yourself as a trader who's not winning yet. You stop comparing yourself to that guy on Twitter who just posted his 50% gain. Because you realize that guy might make money this month, but you're building something that will work next month, next year, and 10 years from now. You're not building a gambling habit. You're building a system, and something changes inside you. Instead of feeling desperate when you see a chart, you feel peaceful. Instead of getting angry when a trade doesn't work out, you just review it like a scientist. Instead of trading because you're bored or anxious, you trade because there's actually a valid reason. Other people notice this too. They ask you, how are you so calm about trading? And you realize you're not calm because you're winning all the time. You're calm because you're not fighting your own system anymore. You wake up and you don't immediately check your portfolio. You don't feel that knot in your stomach about what you might have missed because you know if there's a setup, you'll see it. If there's not, there's nothing to miss. This is what separates profitable traders from the rest. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's not access to better information. It's the ability to do nothing when nothing fits the rules. It's feeling FOMO and choosing patience instead. And here's the beautiful part. Once you feel what that's like, real, consistent, decision-based trading, you can never go back. You won't want to go back because the person you become in the process, they're not desperate anymore. They're not hoping. They're not trying to get rich quick. They're building something real, and that's worth way more than any single winning trade. I want you to imagine something for a second. It's 6 months from now. You've been applying what you've learned in this video. You've been pausing when you feel FOMO. You've been checking your rules before you trade. Some days it's hard. Some days you feel the urgency and it's almost physically painful to not click that buy button, but you do it anyway, and then something shifts. One day you realize, I didn't check my portfolio this morning, not because I forgot, but because I wasn't anxious about it. And that absence of anxiety, it felt good. You notice you're sleeping better. Your relationships are better because you're not snapping at people when you're frustrated about a trade. You're not thinking about the market at 2 a.m. anymore. You review your trading journal and you realize, out of 15 trades this month, 11 of them made money. Your win rate is 73%. Your average win is bigger than your average loss. You didn't get rich. You made maybe 3% on your account. Nothing flashy. But here's what matters. You know why you made money. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a lucky streak. It was because you followed your system. Every single trade. No exceptions. And that knowledge, that confidence, it's worth more than money. Because now you know this will work next month too. And the month after that. This is the moment when you stop being a trader who's trying to get rich quick, and you become a trader who's building something real. Now, I want you to imagine something else. You're at dinner with friends. Someone asks, "How's the trading going?" And instead of the usual answer, "Oh, some wins, some losses, it's complicated," you answer differently. You say, "It's going well. I'm not making a fortune, but I'm consistent. I have a system that works for me, and I trust it." And the person asking looks at you like you just said something revolutionary. Because, in a way, you did. Do you know how rare it is to meet someone who actually trusts their system? Most people are always second-guessing, always wondering if they should be doing something different, always feeling behind. But you're not that person anymore. You're the person who knows the market rewards patience, not urgency. Clarity, not confusion. Systems, not gambling. And maybe you're not making the most money, but you're the only person at that table who isn't stressed about money. That's worth something. Here's something else that changes when you overcome FOMO. You stop measuring your success by wins and losses. You measure it by decisions made and systems followed. This is huge because it flips everything. Right now, if you take a trade and it loses, even if it was a perfect setup, you feel bad. Your brain says that was wrong. But a profitable trader looks at that same losing trade and thinks, that was right. It met my system. It just lost. That's part of the game. The difference isn't in the outcome. It's in the measurement. And this changes how you approach trading completely. Because now you're not gambling. You're not hoping. You're executing. And execution is something you can control. A beginner trader thinks, I need to find the right technique so every trade wins. A profitable trader thinks, I need to find the right system and follow it consistently. One is fighting reality. The other is working with it. And here's the psychological freedom that comes from this shift. You stop being responsible for the market's behavior. You're only responsible for following your rules. That's liberating. Because you can't control the market. You can't control whether your trade wins or loses. You can't control what other traders do. But you can control whether you follow your system. So that becomes your focus. And the moment your focus shifts from how do I win every trade to how do I follow my system every time, that's the moment your trading becomes sustainable. And that's the moment FOMO stops controlling you. Build to the close. I want to tell you something honest. Overcoming FOMO doesn't mean you'll never feel it again. You will. Every trader does. The difference is what you do with that feeling. The profitable traders I know feel FOMO constantly, probably more than you do, because they're paying attention. They're watching the market, but they've made a decision somewhere deep inside that their system is more important than their feelings. And they've practiced that decision so many times that it becomes automatic. You see a setup that doesn't meet your rules and you feel the pull to take it. And instead of fighting it or debating it, you just pass without drama, without second guessing. It becomes as natural as any other skill. The first time you ride a bike, it's impossible. You can't possibly balance and pedal at the same time. Your brain isn't capable of it. But after a while, you ride without thinking about it. That's what happens with trading discipline. It starts as hard mental work. It ends as autopilot. And the time it takes to get there? Maybe 6 months, maybe a year. Depends on you. But the person you become on the other side of that year, they're not desperate anymore. They're not anxious. They're not comparing themselves to other traders. They're calm. They're focused. They're trusting their system. And they're making money. Not because they're genius traders, but because they've learned the most fundamental lesson. Discipline beats talent when talent isn't disciplined. And discipline is just showing up and following your rules when you don't want to. That's it. That's the whole thing. You can be mediocre and disciplined and beat a brilliant trader who isn't disciplined. Because the market doesn't care how smart you are. It only cares if you can follow your system and manage your risk. The good news? That's something you can definitely do. The better news? Every time you do it, you get better at it. The best news? 6 months of consistent discipline compounds into a year of real results. And then you look back at where you started and you don't even recognize yourself. So here's what I want you to do today. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready. Today, write down your 3 main trading rules. Just 3. Simple. Maybe it's only buy above the high 20-day moving average. Only sell at 2% profit or 1% loss. Only take 1 trade per day. Whatever your rules are, write them down, and then tomorrow morning, before you trade, read them. Then watch the market. And I promise you, you will feel FOMO. You'll see a setup that doesn't meet your rules and you'll want to take it. When that happens, just pause. Take a breath. And ask yourself, does this meet my rules? If the answer is no, close the chart, walk away, do something else. And then notice something important. You felt the urge. You didn't act on it, and nothing bad happened. Do that 5 times, then 10 times, then 50 times, and somewhere around the 50th time, something will click. You'll realize, I don't need to take every trade. I don't need to be in the market all the time. I don't need to chase what everyone else is chasing. I just need to follow my system. And when that clicks, when you really feel it, that's when your trading changes. Not because the market changed. Not because you learned some new technique, but because you changed. You became someone who can feel FOMO and not be controlled by it. And that person makes money. So the next time you feel that anxiety, that urgency, that I'm missing out, just remember, you're not missing out on opportunity. You're building opportunity. Every time you don't trade FOMO, you're building discipline. Every time you follow your system when you don't want to, you're building trust. Every time you pass on a trade that doesn't meet your rules, you're building clarity. And all of that compounds into something real. I'll see you next time.